right, welcome back. So we talked about, what did we talk about? We talked about the y-intercept. So whenever the y-intercept changes, that's talking about a translation. Whenever the slope changes, it's talking about a rotation. And the next thing is actually looking at the slope again, but it's looking at whether the slope is positive or whether it's negative. So when the slope of a line, so we're talking about the slope of a line, is multiplied by -1, the graph is reflected across the y-axis, and this is called a reflection, okay? So the graph g of x equals 4x, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna reflect it. So whenever we reflect it, and we're gonna call it h of x, basically all you do is you take whatever slope this is, and then it becomes opposite sign. So you multiply it by -1, right? So if this is positive 4, the reflection is going to be -4. And you can totally see that. So here is our g of x, right? The y-intercept is 0. The slope is up 4 over 1, which is right here. Okay, so that's our g of x. And then what happens with h of x? H of x, it's a reflection, so that slope becomes negative. So it has, here's h of x here. The y-intercept is 0. The slope is down 4 over 1, which forms this line right here. And you can see they're just perfect reflections of each other across that y-axis. And that y-axis is really, this is the line of symmetry, okay? And you can see that these two lines are just reflected. And so the way that you tell whether the line is reflected or not is you look at that slope, 4 and -4, and if the sign is different, if this is positive and this is negative, you know that you're dealing with a reflection. All right, let's go ahead and look at a few examples. So for these problems, it says each function below is reflected across the y-axis. Write a function h of x to describe each new graph, then graph it. So these are super easy. I love them. Okay, so for f of x equals 5x, let's just go ahead and graph that first. So y-intercept is here. The slope is 0, right? The slope is up 5 over 1. So we're just going to graph that. Okay, and then we are just going to say that is f of x. Perfect. And then we want to talk about the reflection, and we're going to call that, it wants us to call that h of x. So these are just so easy. This is positive, that means this becomes negative, and that's it. Okay, and then we graph it. So the y-intercept is 0. Now we're going to go down 5 and over 1 this way, because that's the slope. And then we just go ahead and graph it. Connect the dots. And we have our perfect reflection, and this is h of x equals -5x. Boom! There we have it. Those are reflections. That's how you tell the slope. You look at the slope, one's positive, one's negative, it's a reflection. All right, let's try f of x equals -9. So let's go ahead and graph that one first. The y-intercept is 0. The slope is down 9 over 1. So this is going to be super steep. Okay, I'm gonna label this f of x equals -9x. And then what does it want? Oh, it wants h of x, right? Which is going to be a reflection, which everything's the same except this slope is negative and ours is gonna be positive. And then we just graph it. So the y-intercept is 0, then we go up 9 over 1. And graph away. And there we have our beautiful reflection. I'm just going to go ahead and label it. This is h of x equals 9x. And boom, that's it. So I want you to go ahead and try this one on your own. F of x equals 2x plus 7. Okay? Go ahead and try the reflection. Where's my friend? Here's my friend, the pause dragon. I want you to pause your device. Go ahead and work out this problem. When you get done, press play and we'll talk about it together. All right, let's see how you did. So we're going to graph f of x first. So f of x equals 2x plus 7. We're going to go up 7. That's our y-intercept, and then up 2 over 1. And then I'm going to do the opposite, down 2 over 1. Okay. So there we go. This is my f of x equals 2x plus 7. And then I need to reflect this, right? And so the only thing that changes is that slope becomes negative. So I have my h of x. This is a positive 2, so my slope's going to be negative 2, and I just write everything else just how it is. So y-intercept is 7, right? And then the slope is down 2 over 1 this way, or I could do the opposite. Then we just go ahead and graph it. And it is a perfect reflection, and this is my h of x equals negative 2x plus 7. And it's a perfect reflection across that y-axis. All right, that is it for reflections. I'll see you in a little bit for the next example.